Hey, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Hope you're all doing good. I'm just gonna be doing some quick review on some things I have to do for university, and then I'll be doing some programming on top of that. Not anything too crazy, but just some testing. How's everybody doing? Guys excited? I guess the weekend's already started. I was gonna say, are you guys excited for the weekend? But I guess you're already doing it. um, okay. Hey there, Saren. All right. Weekend is half over. I guess you could look at it that way. I'm a half full kite guy. Weekend's half started. So excited. All right. What was I gonna do? And okay. Cosine function. Digital. I'm just gonna be like reviewing some signals and systems. So for those of you guys that know what that is, it's basically just basically a lot of math for the most part. Here, I'll show you guys what I got for my notes so far. So it's basically just about, so basically the idea behind how you do like signals and systems is a signal is just basically any, a pattern basically for the most part. I guess a signal doesn't even have to be a pattern, but the idea is basically anything can create a signal. So say for example, like a horse running, its steps could be made into a signal and then different ways to like adapt them. And so some things that you'd do with like a signal is stuff like separating out into its components is a really common thing that you'd be doing with a signal, or maybe like adapting it. Like say for example, with my audio, it actually goes through some special processing software that allows it to make my compress the amount of wavelengths. That way the audio sounds more consistent. So as I move forward and backward, it doesn't sound as crazy as it would normally. And on top of that, other stuff that you'd use it for. Audio is just a really good example because it's like a nice wave, makes a nice clear signal. But another thing would be like removing background noise. So as it gets quieter and quieter, it's like, actually here's a good example. So if I'm like making a lot of noise nice and close to the mic, you guys will hear that. But if I make it far away, hopefully that didn't pick up. Actually, only one way to find out is if you guys let me know. But the idea is that it would cut out stuff. So that would be like a high pass filter, I think, off the top of my head. But yeah, those are some examples. So that's pretty much what I'll be reviewing today, at least for the first part of this. Later on, I'll get into some more programming. Just gotta make sure that I'm not falling behind too much in what's actually being covered in my classes. Because as much as I like doing personal projects, I obviously still gotta pass my classes so I can actually do something with them. General forms. I think I already have this part of my notes actually. Do I? I have that. Okay, then I'm definitely missing the cosine function. Okay. Oh, we're getting some more people popping in. How are all you guys doing? All the new guys and girls. Um, okay. What? There you go. Oh, I messed up something. All right. Howdy. How's it going? Sounds interesting. Do you prioritize personal projects or school stuff? Definitely school stuff, because as much as I love personal projects, I obviously need to, like, you know, pass my classes and stuff like that. I obviously, because especially since I'm in like uni and everything, I got to pay for it. I don't want to waste my money. And especially because like I don't want to have bad grades. But I do value like personal projects. Honestly, like sometimes as much as I say I prioritize school stuff, there's a lot of times that I'll accidentally end up prioritizing personal projects. Like right now, the reason that I'm reviewing this is because I've been putting a lot of time into, especially for videos, like a lot of content. Do you code for games? Not really. I haven't really done much stuff with making games for the most part. I've made stuff as part of school related to that, but oh, YouTube's giving me an error that I'm not giving enough for a good stream. I don't know. I guess we'll find out pretty soon if that's an issue, but should be fine. Anyways, what I was gonna say was that yeah, I don't do much programming for video games. I've thought about looking into like Godot, like a game engine, but most of my game related stuff has just been like simple things for school, like like for example, like a reaction test or something like that. And I made like a text. What are those things called? Like a build your own adventure sort of text game. Like Zork, I think, is an example of one. But most of my programming stuff was just, I guess it just comes down to like a bunch of random things for the most part. Like a lot of my personal projects, I haven't really got anything very big that I'm working on right now, for the most part, sadly. I wish I had something really cool that I was working on. I have a couple ideas of things that I want to work on, but haven't gotten around to them yet. Maybe if I find some time during this video, I'll show it off. Anyways. Oh wait, that's not there. And might as well make all my notes look nice while I'm at it. There we go. Actually, what size is this? That's fine. Okay, and let's continue. Would you be able to code a 3D Unreal game? I've never actually played with Unreal, personally. I've only really looked at, like, Godot is pretty similar to, what's the, oh, it's used all the time by a lot of people. It uses C#. Oh my goodness, this is gonna kill me. I'm just gonna list of game engines. What's the one that oh, Unity. That's what I was thinking of. Godot is pretty similar to Unity. If you guys have ever played with that, I've only done like a tiny bit of work with Unity, so I can't speak too much on it, but that's kind of been my experience. I actually own a small indie game studio and I'm looking for programmers, lol. That's really sick. Uh, yeah, sadly, I haven't done any work with Unreal. I know that a lot of the programming with it is C++, but yeah, at the time, I probably wouldn't be experienced with the actual engine itself. So I don't know how helpful I would truly be. Yeah, Unity is the one I started on. Yeah. Yeah, Unity, I think that's like a pretty common thing. Unity gets like a bad name for itself because of that, because it kind of like gets this whole impression of like, I don't know, bad devs use Unity because like Unity, like the issue with Unity is that like the barrier to entry is much lower than something like Unreal, at least based on what I've heard. I can't speak from personal experience on that one because I haven't worked with Unreal before. But I feel like it gets such a bad name because like since the barrier to entry is so low and a lot of people just buy assets off of like the marketplace. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but a lot of people just buy assets off of there and then just throw them together, hope it works, and then everything kind of goes wrong. What do you think about C#.NET? Sorry. What do you think about C#.NET development on Linux/Unix systems? I think it's substantially better than it used to be. At least like, because now .NET Core has been like ported over. If you want, you. Oh, sorry. Sorry. So .NET Core got pushed over to got like ported and everything like that, and it seems to be where everything's headed towards is .NET Core, which is great. So I think that's like a lot better. I haven't worked with C# too much personally. I've never really been like a big fan of it. Most of like I've worked with Java before, which if you guys have like, or I've worked with Java quite a lot, but C# not quite as much. And the big reason is just because of like university and stuff like that doesn't have us use C#. And since I'm on Linux, up until recently, .NET hasn't really been the best option out there. Not that it's the best option out there, but it's a pretty good option. But yeah, I think .NET now on Linux is just substantially better than it used to be, especially with I've looked a lot into like F#, like the functional programming language for .NET, and that kind of seemed interesting because there's a lot like OCaml, if you guys are familiar with that. So I was kind of interested in looking at that, but I haven't done too much with it. Yeah, if you wanted, you could join game jams. Yeah, I've been kind of interested in trying out some game jams, but I haven't really, especially like right now because of the pandemic, like all my classes have moved online for a while. So there aren't really any interesting events like that, but I've kind of been considering looking into it, especially because of just like the widespread popularity it's gained. I really like C# and .NET Core, hoping there is a solid way to make cross-platform GUIs soon. Yeah, that's like one thing that, I don't know, hopefully we'll get soon enough. I feel like it could come pretty quick, especially with the way WSL has been going. I feel like just especially because like now there's been like a lot more of a push to get like Linux GUIs running on Windows. I could definitely see that the way that things are going. But I have no idea how long that would take. I feel like Microsoft is probably gonna be a lot more willing to just say, if you want to make a GUI that's cross-platform, just use Electron at this point. But hopefully that's not going to be the long-term solution. I'm assuming they'll come up with something a bit more substantial than that. But that's just my thought. I don't have any insider knowledge. I'm just a guy. Okay. So. So Shaolin, I was just wondering, like, what kind of, you said you manage an indie, what did it say? Yeah, I actually own a small indie game studio and I'm looking for programmers. I was just wondering what kind of like games have you guys been working on? It'd be really cool to check out what some of you guys have done. Maybe give you guys some nice, obviously very small publicity on the stream because there's not too many people watching right now, but it's always cool to hear what other people are working on. Love to hear what people that are interested in stuff that I'm interested like to do, or what they do for work. I'm always interested. Okay, what's the right tool for the job when making cross-platform apps? Perhaps the JVM languages. That comes down to what you mean by cross-platform. When it comes to like cross-platform GUI applications, it is like still kind of a mess at this point, in my opinion. Like the big issue that I run into with cross-platform apps on at the moment for front end stuff is the fact that like there isn't exactly a go-to tool or a go-to language that does like a great job at it at the moment. At the moment, I feel like Qt does the best job, but that's just my opinion. Once again, the Qt frameworks do a good job at making pretty much most things cross-platform as a GUI sense. But when it comes to making cross-platform applications just in general, there's a lot of different tools. It really comes down to as well like what you really need. So for example, like if you didn't need speed and you wanted something to be cross-platform, at this point, like Python has been ported everywhere, so you could just use that. Python also has TK, so you get like a pretty simple GUI and everything like that. But obviously, you're losing out on like performance and stuff like that. If you're talking about like the back end, then like JVM has just become so popular in that front. So like I could definitely see JVM being like the answer. But at the point with like Docker and everything, like on the back end, you can pretty much make a lot, like you can make like a lot of languages that you wouldn't expect to work well as cross-platform work. But yeah, I don't know if there really is the best tool for the job, because really like when you're talking about cross-platform, there's just so many aspects that you could look at. I just realized that fsid heart Zork. Yeah, I love Zork. Well, I don't love Zork, but I like Zork quite a lot. I wouldn't say I'd have some unbelievable attachment to it. But yeah, I'd say there's like quite a few different options. I'm sorry if I'm not giving you a very straightforward answer, but I'm sure you could probably imagine that like when it comes to like what you want, there's a different tool for a bunch of different things. You're currently working on a pseudo horror game. I wanted to play with the aspect of health in games, and the concept evolved from there. Interesting. That sounds pretty cool. I myself have not played like a lot of horror games. I'm not like the best gamer per se, especially because like a lot of the time that I've been playing around, I haven't been like what would you say? I haven't been like the kind of guy that's like super into horror. I'm a bit of a chicken, if you will. But that's really interesting, especially recently. It's gotten like a lot more. Like obviously, there's a lot of indie games that go for horror. I feel like we can all kind of like agree with that. But I think like it's always interesting to see how people approach it, because I think horror genres as a game is like, or as a game genre, is like more unexplored than I feel like a lot of people give it credit for. If you see what I'm saying, like I feel like there's a lot of potential there, and you could call a lot more things a horror game that's not actually a horror game, and is more of like something like survival horror might not really be as scary as a game that goes for like the pure like scares. You know what I mean? Okay. I've saved your org taming video for later. And why do you not work with math on it? The main reason that I just use, like, is what I use for math is I use Trough, or like Trough, which is like basically a Unix like programming language, basically focused on like something like LaTeX. And the main reason that I don't really use it for math is purely just because I prefer the way that you can actually do math with EQN. Like the way that I do it here is it's like I'm literally, if I just read this aloud, I'd go like x, well, I wouldn't say bracket, but I would do x of t equals a cos, and then there's the brackets around it, and then I would just say omega t plus phi, and that's literally what I'm typing in here. So I find like that a lot nicer versus like if you wanted to do math in org mode, you'd be using like LaTeX pretty much. And so if I want to do that in LaTeX, I'd have to be putting backslashes in here. Some things would have to have brackets around it. I'm just not a big fan of adding all that extra stuff to it if I don't really need to. And so that's kind of why I've stuck with this for especially math related stuff. Do Do you have a video about why you choose to use XYZ tool? For the org mode one, I kind of explain it throughout the video. Near the ending section, I kind of explain why I've used it. Actually, I guess the ending section, I'm explaining like why I don't use Emacs for it. And then at the very start, I kind of explain my general reasons that I use it over something like Markdown or anything like that. But yeah, I prefer to take like my class notes with Trough and stuff like that because I just get like a lot more formatting options without having to use like LaTeX related stuff. No offense to anybody that likes LaTeX. I'm just not the biggest fan personally. Yeah, lol. Hi, which Trough macro package should you use for writing personal wiki with hyperlinks, automatic tables of contents? At the current moment, like table of contents is honestly like kind of a headache from what I've experienced. But right now, if you're using Trough specifically, then the MS macros have a built-in way. I actually have a video on how to do table of contents with the MS macros. You can go ahead and check that out. Actually, maybe I'll throw a link to it while I'm talking about it. That probably didn't sound very good on the mic. Let's see here. Just let me find the video. And there we go. So I just threw a link to my YouTube video about the table of contents. So if you want to check that out, you can take a look at it. But yeah, at the moment, there isn't really a very good option for making a table of contents. And the MS macros, I think, are the most general purpose, in my opinion. Like that's what I use for pretty much all of my work. And I've actually, funny enough, when you're saying like about writing a personal wiki in it, I've actually been like looking into doing this myself. And then, I don't know. I'm not really too sure if I'd be set on it purely because one of the reasons that I stick with org mode is purely because Orgsly, which is like an Android app, is really just super powerful on your phone. And I don't think I'd want to give that up. But yeah, anyways, that's just kind of my perspective on it. But yeah, doing hyperlinks and everything, there's not very great documentation on it. And it depends on the kind of Trough that you're using. But yeah, anyways. What do you think of LaTeX in general? I guess I kind of just said that a bit earlier unintentionally, but my thought on LaTeX is that I'm not really, or LaTeX, I guess some people would say it. I'm not really like super into it, I guess is kind of my answer. I've like tried using it in the past, but I just like don't like, feels like just like a lot of boilerplate and it feels like a lot of like extra steps to get to what I feel like should be so simple. And then like what I like about why I use Trough, I feel like it's more clear when I explain. Like the thing that I don't like about LaTeX is that you have to put way more stuff into it, way more text to get what you would expect to be natural, versus Trough has pretty normal, like decent defaults, and then you can just expand it so easily. So like when I take my notes, I actually have like a special macro set for Trough, which actually like basically wraps around the MS macros. And so then I can use like headings kind of similar to what you'd expect with Markdown. And for those of you guys that are interested, I'll probably be releasing this sometime soon. I just kind of want to make sure that it's where I want it to be before I'm putting it out there for everyone else to see. Yeah, so that's kind of the reason. Sorry, I keep bumping my mic. But yeah, so I just give it like a nice simple wrapper so it can kind of be like Markdown, but then I can expand it by like having stuff like this, which adds like a picture. I can use EQN for my math, all that sort of stuff. So I can extend it and add anything I need to. Hopefully that answers your guys' questions. I can see that a lot of people got scared away from me talking about all that sort of stuff. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and continue with this. So I'm really bad about getting sidetracked, as you guys can probably tell. And then And um, oops, just realized I totally messed something up. And then we'll want oh, what did I just mess up? Oh, whoops. There we go. And that's pretty simple. Cool. Example of science. What about equation labels and also referencing equations, something like that? For that one, you probably wouldn't use a macro for that. You'd probably use a preprocessor. There's a few out there. Let's see if I can find what the other one was called. I think it's called nrefer. Let's see if I can. That one's pretty common that that I've used in the past if I needed to. Alternatively, if you needed to just do that and you didn't want to use a preprocessor or anything to make it more abstract, then what you could do is let's see if I can copy this link. So that's something you guys that you could use to basically give yourself references and everything wherever you need to. Here's the actual URL. Outside of that, you could probably remove that yourself if you wanted to. But that's a good option, nrefer or nref, that you can use to basically reference things really easily. Alternatively, you could use the macros. Those are basically a really simple way to basically, whenever you make an equation, it will like basically create a reference for you. And you can create a table of figures and stuff like that using it. But yeah. And what's the difference between the MS, MOM, MM file format? It seems to be that code style is slightly different. Yeah, so I've been needing to make a video on this purely because I think it's like what most people get confused on and worried about. The biggest reason for that is how do you download oh god. I found it very tricky. Yeah, goodbye, you're definitely right. Okay, I'm just gonna answer the first question first. So what's the difference between MS MOM and MM file format? So assuming that you're just talking about the macros themselves and how they work. So actually, let's give you an example. I think I have a bunch of easy examples that you guys can look at. Here's an example of an MM file. See if I Okay, so here's an example of what like the output from a normal MM file would look like. So going up to the top, we have like our cover, or I set it to be a cover, and then I set the title, and I set a bunch of different information, and then I say cover end. Then you can set headings and all that sort of stuff. So they're all pretty similar in the general idea. Ooh, I've lost a lot of people now. Not that many people are interested in Trough content, which is pretty fair. But yeah, so this is kind of the output that you'd get from it. And the basic idea is that MM is meant for like manuscripts is the idea of it, I think, or memos, I think is where the name comes from. But it's pretty useful for a lot of things. MM is easily the most complicated though. There's a lot of really confusing information. There's not a lot of documentation on it, but it is the most powerful in that sort of way. So you can have a ridiculous amount of stuff like you can actually have like figures labeled automatically for you, and then it will make a table of figures if you tell it to, which is really cool. But the most common, what was I gonna say? The most common issue you'll run into is the fact that they're just a bit too complicated and they can be a bit frustrating. Now, another thing that you can go ahead and look at is the MOM macros. And let's see if I have test MOM. Okay, so this is an example of a MOM macro. So the MOM macros are a lot more similar to what you'd experience with LaTeX. So if you guys are used to working with LaTeX, the idea of how it would work is that you'd have a general file, like a structure for your file. So let's just say it started here. So imagine that the program started here. So this is what we're actually creating. Actually, let's just go ahead and there you go. So I've just created the file. This is not really a very nice looking file. This is just kind of a test file that I have for reference later on. But anyway, so you create a heading by just saying heading, and then you say the heading level. So this is a heading level 1, and then you give it what text you want to put in there. And then you set a paragraph, and then you can make a list. And so when you make the list, you can actually specify what kind of list it is, and then all your items will follow that. So this gives you like a really simple way to structure it. But the thing is that I haven't actually said how to draw the heading or how to do the title or anything. And that actually comes at the top of your file. And that's pretty similar to what you'd experience with something like LaTeX, where you'd have the general structure of your file, but the actual formatting would come as its own separate part. And so that's kind of what you get here. So here I'm just saying like title, and I give it its information, and that will just go at the start. But then here I'm actually saying heading style, and I give it information like what font family to use, what font to use, what size to use, what color to use, if it needs numbers. So you can kind of like get that sort of a formatting, and then when it says start, that's how you actually start your normal content, if that makes much sense. And then say I could add like another heading, make it a second level heading. This is a and then it will add a second level heading, but I haven't really set any special stuff for it. But if I did this, and I made this a second level heading, say I want my second level headings to be italic, maybe a smaller font size, and maybe I want it to be gray. Oh, or actually let's do green. And oh, did I define blue somewhere else? Am I missing something? Is that actually green? No, it's not green. That's a bit strange. I'm probably missing something that I'm not thinking of. Or it's just not defined. Let's just try red. I feel like if red was going to exist, it would exist. Huh. Interesting. I was running into issues. Okay, well, this was a bad demo, but let's go ahead and change the size, and that should change like normal. What? Thing style. And am I missing something here? I haven't used the mom macros very often, so there's clearly something I'm doing wrong, but I'm not realizing what it is. I think it should be working. I don't know why it's not. Thank you. I'll have to come back to that later. I've been needing to do a video on mom macros, so maybe this is a good opportunity to look into doing stuff like this. But the italics did work, so I'm just kind of confused on why some of this isn't working. Oh, it's probably, I'm betting you that I don't actually have, let's just do, I think BM is one. Interesting, so that worked. Well, I'm obviously not giving the best demo, as you guys can probably tell. But anyways, this is how it should be. I'm not too sure what I'm breaking. Let's just see if blue works. Oh my goodness, I'm a goofball. The color was set here. Don't know why I didn't see that. Then we're gonna just do red. Oh my god, I don't know. Let's see what that color looks like. Okay, this is greeny, so we're just gonna go green. Gah! Everything is going wrong. Chaos. Oh wait, that is green. All right, cool, we're all good. Let's just go. Let's make this a more clear color. Find the colors like that. Sorry about that. That was kind of awkward. But now you guys kind of see the idea of how you'd use it. And you can define a bunch of other stuff. Like say, for example, if I didn't want the number on it, then I would just remove number, and then there's no number. Pretty simple. Or I could do BI, I think should be bold italics. Yep, there we go. And then we get bold italics. Pretty simple. And this will just be applied to everything. So if I made another heading, second level heading, this is another. Oop. Whoops. I accidentally left the file. Mom test. There we go. Whoops. That was a bit awkward. Anyways, sorry about the issues, but there you go. Anyways, and then MS macros are pretty normal. Sorry, at this point I was just kind of like interested in playing around with it now that I started talking about it. This is kind of what I mean by I can get sidetracked very easily. Anyways, but that's why I got you guys. I want you guys to keep me sidetracked, keep me thinking about things. The big thing is that you learn best from teaching, and teaching is a good way to find out that you don't actually know something. So, that's not really the best way to learn, but sometimes learning from doing is good. But if you need to learn something new, the best way to learn that you don't know it is from someone to ask you about it, I guess. Inspirational quote. I'm sure you guys will be telling that to your kids for decades. Okay. Now back to this. Okay. Find some. And cool. Oh, that looks a bit awkward. There we go. That's a bit nicer. still kind of getting used to this keyboard, so I make a lot more typos than I normally would, and I already make enough typos as it is. Okay. 1,000. Okay. And then the actual baseline, so is this. So then we just need to find, so A would be A equals -3 omega equals 800 pi, I believe. Trying really hard not to look at my actual notes because that would just be counterintuitive, as you'd probably guess. Oh wait, there's no t. What am I thinking? And then after omega, we have f. And then does that equal pi over 3? No, that'd be negative pi over 3. And then let me know if you guys are having trouble seeing this. Yeah, okay, so links. It is a bit of trouble, but I don't mind explaining it because I myself am like very guilty of not doing enough videos explaining things, like especially links. And that's partly just because I kind of like haven't figured out a good way to explain it, and I always forget the format for them. Ooh, we've lost a couple of people, but that's fine by me. Okay, so let's go tempfs. Oh, this doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, now I always have issues doing this, but the best way, so graph tmac. All right, and all right, so this is kind of where you'll find a lot of this, and then you go to PDF mark. Where is it? Am I missing something now? Now I'm questioning it. Do they not mention it in here? Come on, documentation, you're killing me. Okay, let's go graph. Oh wait, no, we want to go man. I think grow PDF is what we're looking for. There we go. Okay, so this is probably the best example of how you do it. So PDF mark is what you'd use. It's kind of, I'm trying to see if they have a really good explanation of how you use it. You're gonna give us anything to work with? Come on. Okay, well you'd use the PDF mark macros, but they're not actually showing it off very well here. User, sorry, I just gotta think. User share graph tmac. Oh, that's not what I want. Current tmac, and then I want PDF mark. Just see if I can find the actual docs. So here's like the actual file that you want. You want the PDF mark macros. But I just kind of need, there's like a bit of documentation in here. It really needs to be done better, in my opinion. It's kind of annoying. There's like a few macros that use it, but this is the most general purpose way. So I feel like it makes the most sense. Book. I guess you want, come on. Okay, well it's somewhere in here, and now I'm annoyed that I can't find it. There's a lot of like metadata you can, oh, did I find what I was looking for? No, that's a note. Actually, you know what? This is fine. I'll just go, I have a better idea of how to show you how to do. FW. So how you do it, so you'd have to include the PDF mark macros, but I think those are actually included by default, I believe. Let me just double check. If you're using, if you're doing -t PDF, Oh no, you have to include them. So you have to include the PDF mark macros, but then once you do that, you use this sort of a format. So you do PDF href, and then you do W to say it's a web link. D, you give the actual definition of the actual URL, and then you do dash dash and you give it its description. The dash dash is just to tell it there's no more actual flags that are going to be coming in, and the backslash here is just to put it on another line because this is pretty long. Otherwise, it would be like that. Sorry if that was a bit of a long explanation, but hopefully that gives you a better idea of where to look. Sorry if I don't see an option. No, it's fine. Okay, how to download fonts in Trough. Okay, I need to do a video on this. Maybe I'll even try to release one during the week, next week, because this just, like, I should really cover this. That one is pretty time consuming, and sadly, I don't think I'd be able to show that off if it's not too much trouble. Oh, it covers the bottom right of the screen. Okay, actually, let's go. I'm just gonna go ahead and shrink myself down really quick. Let's just put myself more in the corner. There we go. All right. There we go. Now it should be a bit easier to see what's going on. But the big thing is that this is the general format that you'd use for a hyperlink. Sorry for the long rundown. Thanks, that's very helpful. Whew. All right. Actually, let's just there we go. Okay, I just turned on screen key. I need to make a better format because this is just really big and it always like covers up so much of my screen, so I'm always like avoiding using it in my head, but I feel like it's just so necessary at this point. I really need to figure out, I need to like adjust the config so that way it's not in my way all the time, but I could settle for now. Actually, let's go. Let's just move that around. All right. Sorry about the delay, guys. Let's get back into it. So, okay, I think that's right. And then we want to go to the next one. And there's my question, my answer. Perfect. Okay. And then I just did that. Okay. So it's very helpful. Why the pi in the box is not pi, but just literal pi? Oh, whoops. It's because I have a comma right here. Nice save there. I didn't even notice. Yeah, that's something that's really annoying with this is that you have to make sure that you put spaces around everything. They're pretty easy to spot in this case, but sometimes they can be a bit frustrating if you forget about them. So like here, I had to put a space after pi. But it aligns everything for you, luckily, when you use EQN. So like you can kind of put anything anywhere. So if I did EQN hello, and then 2 plus 2, and then I just compiled that. Where did that go? Oh, whoops. And then here you'll actually see that it just puts it all next to each other. If you guys are actually using text, then you have to do, you have to surround it with spaces. But yeah, so this is kind of what you'd do if you wanted to add some text there. Not that anyone was really asking, but just in case. Anyways, sorry, I got a bit distracted there. And so we got this, we got the picture, and then just for A. So the usual look of one would be, let's just see what a normal one looks like. Okay, so it's offset by t. Okay, so it's offset by 2. Instead of being at 0, it should be. It's got plus 2 milliseconds. And then, so that's that. And then is the amplitude changed? Yes, that's times by 5. And then, hopefully I'm doing everything right. And then is it stretched out more? Oh, it definitely is. It's not gonna have the answer here, is it? What is it stretched out by? Doing math live. Okay, how do you define a string inside a macro definition? I've tried. So I'm assuming you mean something like this. So if I was doing .de tester. Okay, so I've got this macro right here. I've got a tester, and then I want to do, or wait, you said define a string. So I do ds str, and then I've got some text, so I would define that, and then we'll just print it out using \star str. And oh, whoops, I needed to do where are you? We got that. And then, oh, am I messing something up here? It's here. str. Now I'm like questioning if I'm being silly. Or if this is actually the issue that you were having before. Oh, whoops. Yeah, okay. So that's defining there. Oh, that's a really good question, actually. Now I'm like questioning, how did I have done this before? Define string, defining a string. Let's look this up. Or not, that's not what I want. Plus, okay. Okay. It's a bit bigger. Okay, we're not looking for define string. Let's go. Sure, this isn't very fun for you guys to watch, but I feel like I'm being silly. Oh, there's gotta be, I can't remember how I did this before. I wish I knew what document I would have done this. Okay. Define a macro. I'm pretty sure there's a way. I'm just trying to remember how I did it. Sorry, I'm kind of talking really far away from the mic. Let me know if you guys can't hear me or something. Something in here. I gotta be able to figure it out. Oh, I feel like we're getting close to something. What? Okay. I'm gonna have to get back to you on this one because I feel like I'm being silly. I can't. It's gonna drive me crazy because I feel like I remember doing this before. Okay, let's see if I actually did it in one of these guys. I'm gonna have to get back to you on this one. I'll add that to my to-do list. All right. Anyways, sorry for that. I'll get back to you. I'm not too sure if you're in the Discord, but if you're in the Discord, go in there, and I'll make sure that if I find this out later on today, I'll go ahead and hit you guys up, let you know what's going on. All right. Anyways, back to this. Okay. And then I just need to. Oh, didn't realize that I was still in. There. Okay. And then answer. Just leave that as a to-do to do that later. Okay. All right. And I'll do the rest of that later. Let's go ahead and get on to some of the other stuff I had. So, slides. Just make sure. Oh yeah. Okay, well I'll have to get onto that stuff later. I can't type today apparently. Okay, now let's go ahead and fix this issue with Trough. And then FT plugin. Okay. And then what do I want? I want to find and Oh yeah, I see what the issue was. I just need to fix that with cache, and then that should work. All right. And then I just need to added and then I need to do this is what I don't like about screen key, is that to kill it I have to like just don't want to give away my password. Okay, and then that should be done. And then I'll just say or wait, just to make sure. Let's actually just make sure I went to the right file. Now add ft plugin, and then okay, that should be all good. Okay, now that should be done, at least for now. Okay, and then fix docs. Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is one of the things that I was like, I really need to get around to fixing this because all the docs are like totally misaligned now. And then, sorry, this one's a bit boring. I'm just trying to get it all lined up. Assuming that I'm doing this right. I haven't really done much documentation work with Vim, so that's kind of why I'm probably doing this in not the recommended way. Ah, that's not good. Okay. Wait. Set no read only. Set modifiable, there we go. Let's just align all this manually because it gets the job done. I need there. There we go. Sorry for everybody that's cringing at the amount of poor movement I'm doing in Vim. That's all I can say. I can't really speak outside of that. starting to think that I maybe am misaligning everything, but who knows? I am far from a professional Vim help writer, but I don't think there is anything like such a thing, so at least I don't know, doing something. I don't really know why I'm talking like this, but I'm actually, now I'm like questioning, like, oh man, am I setting expand tab? Maybe I'll get back to that one later, actually. And then look at spelling. We'll look at that later. Okay. All right, we've lost quite a few viewers. Let's go ahead and do something a bit more interesting. I wanted to mess around with Heirloom and Trough a bit more. So the one thing I wanted to look at was neat refer. I wanted to mess around with image placement because Trough seems to have some weird versions of how it does image placement. But yeah, and then text placement. Yeah, actually, I think I'll cut this off pretty soon because I feel like it's been like an hour, and most of the people have kind of headed out, so I don't really know how many people are interested in a lot of this other stuff, and I should probably get on to some other things anyways. So I'll give it like another 4 minutes. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to hit me up as your chance. So the stream wasn't very interesting. I probably should have done some of my review outside of this and then maybe done some more of my actual programming work in here. Yeah. Anyways, let's give it a few more minutes for code embedding. Oh yeah. How do you draw bigger lines in Trough? Oh, okay. There's a way. I just gotta remember how to do it. So you do SD. Wait. How fast is Trough compilate or star Roth compilation on your system? Pretty quick. It kind of depends on what I'm actually doing though. So for example, let's go ahead and give you a really quick example. Actually, I guess I might as well do the line one first. I'll get back to that one in just a sec. There is a way. I think I want to look line. Increase line thickness. There you go. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Okay, so I guess this is how you'd actually do it. I thought it was a different way, but let's go ahead and give you an example. Okay, so here we have some things. So let's go ahead and we're just going to do L, and we're going to go to 15 0. Okay, so here's our line that we've made here. And so now, according to the docs at least, how we can increase the line thickness, we're just going to T 313p. This might be really big. Actually, I'm not too sure. Yeah, so that's pretty big. So let's go just 3p. And then that'll make it a bit smaller. And then I think U should also adapt for the actual unit size. So there we go. It's a bit thicker. So you can kind of keep increasing it, I guess. Oh, is that a bit thicker? That's not too sure. I guess we might have to do point size. Let's try going down to 1. I wonder what the default actually is. Let's find out. The value of 0, so 0p. So I guess that's the default, and then we could do 0.4. Let's just see what it does for that. So it makes it a bit thicker. So that's probably the best way to do it. Yeah, how fast is Trough compilation on your system? So it's pretty quick for like stuff like really short, but a really big one. I know I have, there we go. So here's a huge file. So this one takes like a lot longer to compile. But let's see what went wrong. Interesting. Wonder what's going on there. Oh, I forgot to start. Screen key again. Oh wait. Sorry about the slow example. Why are you not compiling? I feel like this is just going to be a lot more simple than I think it is. Warning, tail. What am I missing? Wall, error, PS. Oh. No idea why that took so long to compile. But anyways, sorry about that. So that took, oh, I guess it wasn't compiling. I guess the issue is that it was just taking a while to render. But yeah, so it takes, so this file is 152 pages. I didn't separate it out. This is like not optimized at all. But this takes, let's time it out. Sorry, just trying to make sure that it's not saving anything ahead of time. Okay. So now let's go. Okay, this is not going to be scientific at all. So this is compiling now. And then once it stops compiling, so that took, wait, what? Cat, what did I do wrong? Okay, well, something went wrong there, but that's how long it, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. So it took 5 seconds to compile a 152 line file. Images make it a bit slower. So that's kind of why it's a bit slower here. I have lots of images, but that's compiling to PostScript. Now, if I wanted to compile it to PDF, I'm not too sure if I have this in here because this is a bad example. Okay, so I can do, oh no. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi, 11 Mississippi, 12 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 14 Mississippi, 15 Mississippi, 16 Mississippi, 17 Mississippi, 18 Mississippi, 19 Mississippi, 20 Mississippi, 21 Mississippi, 22 Mississippi, 23 Mississippi, 24 Mississippi, 25 Mississippi, 26 Mississippi, 27 Mississippi, 28 Mississippi, 29 Mississippi. Oh, there we go, we're done. So I'd say like about 30 seconds. And then we get a PDF, and that's all of it. But the way that I'm actually doing that is I'm making a PostScript file, and then it's converting that PostScript into a PDF. You could use PDF-ROF, which automatically does it, or use the default PDF features. But the issue with that is that you lose out on having these nice images here. You'd have to either do it yourself with PIC or use the really janky way that it works using PDF-ROF, which is even slower. Sorry for the really strange way of answering that. I kind of had to think that through for a sec, but hopefully that answers your question. Anyways, guys, I think that's probably enough for today. Bit of a lame stream. I'll try to come up with something more fun to do next time. Maybe just doing a little chat is a bit more interesting to you guys. But yeah, anyways, figured I would give you guys a quick little weekend stream, give you guys a chance to catch up with me, chat with me. But yeah, okay. That's going to be it for today. Oh. Still a ton faster than latex, I guess. I'll switch to Trough. Yeah, that's like probably, like the speed is still going to be better. And you can definitely optimize it a lot more. It's awesome. Thank you a lot. All right. Well, that's great to hear that you guys enjoyed the stream. Obviously, there weren't too many people here this time, but I'm always happy to chat with you guys a bit more. Feel free to hit me up on Discord, all that fun stuff. Anyways, guys, I'll see you later.